So Ravens camp has been interesting this year. A team that some people, Colin Coward, thinks going to go 16-0, but also a team that of all of the organizations, all the teams in the AFC North, has had arguably the most drama come up. So where are the Baltimore Ravens? Are they close to that 14-2 form? Are they close to that AFC North two-time champion form that they were in last year? Or is there a fall off coming soon for them? So let's talk about that. Real quick before this video starts, I want to make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that notification bell. I have a ton of training camp content coming out within the next few days. So if you want to make sure you don't miss a single thing, you're going to want to make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing. Now, as most of you know who follow me, I do a podcast and a secondary YouTube channel with my friends Ace Boogie, SZG Sports, and Tony Sereno. I always butcher his name, but I do a show there. We're live starting in about a week every Tuesdays. We used to do Mondays. We're live every Tuesdays. We talk everything AFC North related. So again, if that sounds something interesting to you, make sure you subscribe. But to talk about everything that is Ravens camp, I thought I'd bring in Sonny, SZG Sports. Sonny, how you doing, man?
Hey, man. Happy to be here. Happy to be in the Quincy Carrier channel. Let's be honest, man. The Browns voice. Ecstatic, man.
Thank you. Thank you for all that praise. So a lot of interesting things about the Baltimore Ravens. I think the most pressing thing is everybody, I think we've talked to death about the actual Earl Thomas situation. What I want to know is a little bit of the fallout. So missing a piece like Earl Thomas, not having that piece anymore, what's going to be the effect on the overall defense, and what are the immediate solutions to fill in for Earl Thomas now that he's not going to be there?
Yeah, right now the big thing is the Ravens pre-Earl Thomas cut. Their defense, believe it or not, even though it's a great defense last year, it got better. We were having Tavon Young, which was excellent nickel, and by training camp, he's back to form. No injuries. He had a neck injury, right? So those are scary because that can pop up, but it wasn't any ligaments or anything that can affect his shiftiness or his play. And you got Calais Campbell, Derek Wolfe. So the defense in general got bolstered, and then you get Earl Thomas problem, and we got cut. So I think this defense is going to improve in the areas that was a little bit weaker, meaning their run defense. That was the weakest part. If you remember against the Browns, that week 4 win that the Browns got, Chubb ran all over us, right? So they wanted to get faster middle linebacker. We did. Now, there are rookies. So I always say with rookies is a wait and see. There's so many rookies that come out of college. You're like, this guy's has short, no missed talent, and we've seen what happens, right? But they got rookies that they had speed. They brought up better D linemen. So all that was because they wanted to get better against the run. Now, the thing is that center fielder, that will be questioned, right? Now, the immediate who's gonna fill up for Earl Thomas is, as right now, is the Joker, as we call him in Baltimore, Deshaun Elliott. He is a guy that was a 5th-round pick 2 years ago. But the problem that I have in Raven Nation, you guys know, I have said this before. In 32 games, he has played only 4. So he has an injury history. Not the same injury, but he has injury history. I like what I've seen for him from Texas. I like the very limited that I've seen for him on the field. But that's a problem. And the other thing that they want to do is put Jimmy Smith on the safety position. Now, I love Jimmy Smith as a corner. And if it is a man coverage, you can bring Jimmy Smith to play press against the tight end. I feel comfortable with that. He is big. He's physical. But what is Jimmy Smith over there on an island and a single high safety? I don't know. Is his instinct, is he going to just bite as soon as the quarterback looks right? He's going to just shift right in. If he's playing single high, if I'm a quarterback, I change the play to just go route on the outside and then just look at the one side and see if Jimmy just wanders there and then try to exploit the other side. That's what defense would do. The Joker, at least he's played safety all his career, so he has a little bit better instincts and thinking that Jimmy might be a natural. I just haven't seen it.
That's going to be interesting. And with the season being as weird as it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of question marks like that around the league. But one thing I think should be talked about is the other improvements on the defense, especially on the defensive line. Where do you think this defensive line stacks up when it comes to just with other defensive lines in the NFL? You're really strong in the middle. Obviously, got Calais Campbell, Derek Wolfe, and also Brandon Williams, a very good player. And then you have Matt Judon, who had a good year last year, but has been kind of questionable in his previous years. And then you got more question marks on the other edge position. So where do you think in total, this defensive line kind of stacks up with the NFL?
Okay, so if I think about my interior D line between Campbell, Wolf, and B. Will, I think it's a strong interior defensive line. I will put him top of the league. I'm not saying they're the 49ers interior defensive line, but they're top 10 for sure. Now, obviously, as the back, well, let me talk about just the backups. Amarabuki, a rookie. People are loving him in camp. Like Calais Campbell came and said, like, whoa, this dude is for real. We had two rookies on the defensive line. One is an early third, and the other one is a late third. The late third, nobody's talking about him. The early third, which is Marabuki, everybody, I mean, like, he is the talk of camp. I know that was your boy when we did mock drafts. You picked him for the Browns. Anyway, him, I think then you can see a guy like McPhee maybe sliding in, and then Jelly, as we call him, Ellis, is the de facto nose tackle. Those are okay to bring, to rotate on the defensive line. Now, as you said, when we go to the outside rusher is when there's question marks. Now, with Judon, you can see Judon's progression. Judon was a fifth-round pick. And year to year he has gone better. It's not like this year was extremely better and there's not a progression line. Judon has gone better as the years go. So I wouldn't say last year was a fluke with Judon. I would say this is a progression that he has gone through. So I expect from Judon the same or a slightly improved. I'm not saying he's going to get 16 sacks, but a slightly improved, maybe 11 or 12 sacks. The other side, as you call, is the question mark, is the big question mark. We have Ferguson from last year, a third-round pick, as the year when he progressed, but he wasn't like he broke. Like, he wasn't like, oh, he progressed. Oh, look at this, what he's doing. Ferguson came to the league with one move, bull rush. As the year progressed, his bull rush got better, and you can see him trying secondary moves. I think still he will have growing pains, maybe a little bit better, but not significantly. And then Bowser, a guy that is in his fourth year, he is what you want an outside linebacker, athletic. He goes out and covers. He moves all over the place. The problem with Bowser is his pass rushing skills lack. This is a pay year for him. I expecting him to put the work. Also, really good things out of camp about him. I'm expecting Bowser because most players on that pay year progress and have an increase in production. I'm expecting some sort of an increase in production for Bowser. And last but not least, there's now rumors about Clowney. I think that's a long shot. But even with those three, I think we are okay. Outside rushers, we don't stack at the top of the league. When we rank in the AFC North talk outside rushers, I believe I put the Ravens last, if I'm not mistaken. So, and I would still think in the AFC North, the Ravens are last because Judon, and then there's a lot of question marks. I think the team likes what they have, but still question marks.
Yeah. So let's switch actually to the offensive side of the ball. And I think one guy that a lot of the Ravens fans have a ton of hope and expectation for, and, I've made my voice heard about how I feel differently about how high these expectations have gotten for one Marquise Brown. But again, those expectations are there. What do you think would be reasonable for Hollywood Brown to put up? And do you think he's gotten overhyped?
I think, look, the reality is Baltimore is thirsty for a great receiver. Let's be honest. We have a great quarterback, MVP year. We have had defensive player all over the defense. Historically, they have been great. Great O-line. Great tight ends for Tahib and company, right? So there's one position that we cannot say we had a great, especially drafted, homegrown receiver. We don't. The closest thing is Torrey Smith. And Torrey Smith was a nice receiver in the NFL, but nobody considers him a Pro Bowl receiver. Mm-hmm. So with Hollywood, the thing is you can see progressions last year as he was hurt, right? His foot had two screws in, and he still, you can see some of that progression from Hollywood. His speed got better. The problem that you look, this is a criticism that I have for Hollywood last year. As soon as the guy catch the ball, if anybody got into his radius, he will fall down or he will go outside. I'm expecting that to improve. And the other thing, I think Lamar will try to feed him the ball more. And now that the Ravens have more receiver speed, I think that he's gonna be in position to succeed. Look, I also high on Hollywood. I'm not saying that he will be. I know I put a hot take the other day. Go check the AFC North talk, but I think he's gonna be in the 1,000+ yards. I think this is his year. I think he got close to 600. If he stays healthy, I think he will get more. Um, I think Mark Andrews helps him, and I think the rookie's speed on the other side also helps him. So I think 1,000 to 1,100 is probably a good number. But I agree with Ravens fan. I think this is the year that you will see. I'm not calling him a Pro Bowler, but a guy that is top 20 in the league as a receiver.
So I got a question about that with the Ravens offense. They were so successful doing exactly what they did last year by having that production kind of be split between the run game and specifically the tight ends in their grouping. Do you think it is going to actually be better or help the Ravens offense be any better by maybe taking away some carries from that run game and giving those, targets to wide receivers? Is divvying up that production, like, is that ultimately going to be something that's going to be helpful, or is that going to be something that might actually be to the detriment of the offense long term?
So Lamar, I don't have the numbers, but I think he was close to 3,500 yards. He was about 3,000. I think he was close to 3,500. Fact check me there. But the reality is the games complement each other so much because we run so much, and now we have a really good running back. Not only Ingram, but a guy that's gonna grow in the system, J.K. Dobbins. Dude is looking phenomenal, especially in the passing game. Like, he's becoming a problem. You see him in passing drills. The dude, I was surprised. I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting in the passing game to see this guy to be so sharp. As you become such a good running team, what's going to create for guys like Hollywood. And I think this is why the Ravens drafted the guys that they drafted. They're speedy guys. They're good on the open field. The defense tend to collapse. And now those guys that usually you need, Hollywood, if you put a safety over the top, then you can limit it, Hollywood, right? But if you're running the ball down your throat, and then you're going to put that safety over Mark Andrews. Now Hollywood can operate in a one-on-one. And if you're going to give him cushion, the guy is fast. And he's not only fast, because this is a very misunderstood thing in the NFL. If you're fast, oh, you're going to be great. No. You need to be more than fast. Perriman was fast for us, and he couldn't produce. Now Perriman has become a better receiver, but you see receivers in the NFL that are fast and they're not productive. Hollywood also runs really good routes. That is what I think it will help him, because you can put him in the slot, you can put him in the outside, and he thrives in both positions. And not if you put him in one-on-one, he has the ability with his footwork to fake you out and the speed to get open. So I think the Ravens should go similar. I would expect Lamar to run a little bit less, to keep the ball less, but still the same formation, and that will open the passing lanes.
Okay, so let's actually talk about Lamar Jackson. Now, he's the reigning MVP, and it sounds crazy to talk about him like a developing player, but he is a developing player. He's only in his, third year in the NFL. We talk about Baker Mayfield. All the other third-year guys as developing players. It's only fair to do the same with Lamar Jackson. And I think a lot of what the Ravens did during the draft, with drafting all those wide receivers to go along with Marquise Brown, is they're kind of taking a bet on Lamar Jackson kind of taking a even further step in his progression and becoming not just a pocket passer, but becoming just more efficient in that area when it comes to certain parts of that passing game. Again, I'm not saying he couldn't throw the ball last year. I'm saying there's areas within his throwing game that did kind of struggle that they were able to make up for. So what's been the word in camp with Lamar about how he's looked like in that area of his progression?
So Lamar in camp, it's funny because he also missed some days with an injury. I think Harbaugh right now, if you tell him my nail hurts, he's sitting you down. and he's been giving a lot of days off to a lot of people. I think he's paranoid. He doesn't want anybody to get hurt, obviously. Lamar, the time that he was there, what they were saying is the deep ball looks good. The connection between him and Hollywood was great, especially in the long ball. What I want to see from Lamar throws a really good deep ball in the middle of the field. On the outside is where he struggles, right? So yes, he is capable. I remember I was there in the game when we played the Cardinals, and the game throw the seal the deal was a great coverage. I think it was Patrick. No, it wasn't Peterson. I forgot the corner, but it was really well covered, and he threw it over the shoulder to Marquise Brown on the outside. It had to be like a 30-yarder, and that sealed the game because then we burned the clock. So he is capable, but he's not consistent. And to be fair, what you said, he's a developmental. He will tell you he's still developing. He's still working on part of his games. So I think that is the part that he needs to work the most. My understanding is he looks better. Is he perfect? Probably not. But looks like there's progressions on the outside throw between him. The other guy that has been lining outside is Boykins, and those two looks like Lamar was throwing the ball well. In the case of Boykins, they're working with him in the 50-50 ball, so Lamar to throw it not necessarily like a go route, more of a out route, which again he struggles. That's the pass that got intercepted against Tennessee. So those are the passes that he has worked on a lot, because the middle of the field, that's where he eats. That's where he puts a lot of his numbers. That outside is where he's working on. And look, to be fair with Lamar, from year 1 to year 2, the dude worked. Like, I was surprised. I remember, and people used to make fun of me because I said, if Lamar can get 25% better in the passing side, he's going to be a problem. No, he got better than 25. Now, if he solved his lack of a consistency on the outside, he's definitely going to be, like, he was a problem last year. I don't know how you stop him. If he can make the throws on the outside, because we know he can make the inside throws, and he can run like he can run, at that point, I don't know how you stop Lamar.
But the one thing I want to talk about with the Ravens is kind of what a lot of people talked about with the Browns last year, and it's expectations. And this is one of the hottest teams in the NFL, one of the most watched teams in the NFL. Everybody knows about it. They got the Madden cover on the team. So a lot of people are expecting a lot of great things. We heard the Colin Cowherd take, while, it was a little bit ridiculous how he got to that math. He predicted the team to get to 16-0. I know a lot of Raven fans, and I don't think this is an uncommon opinion about Ravens fans, is that they kind of expect this team to either be at 14-2 level or improve from 14-2, and that is massive. Like, people talk about the Browns having massive expectations last year. That's massive expectations. Do you think the weight of those expectations for a team that is just trying to get the playoff win monkey off their back, this unit, is that going to be helpful? Is this going to be something that's going to become a problem like it did for the Browns last year?
The year before that, we made the playoffs because we got hot. Mm-hmm. And then people were like, I think we won 7 straight. And you were like, well, that cannot be done again. And then we come into the regular season. I think this team in the regular season plays relaxed. The thing with the Ravens is, other than your week 1 team, how can you prepare for a team that you don't see on a normal basis? You had to shift how you play your defense. So you have to completely remake your defense for one game. And for teams, seems to be hard. It seemed to be hard for teams to shift that defense. Look, the 2 games that we lost, in my opinion, they were lost on the defensive side. Our defense couldn't stop. And after those 2 games, that's when we got Marcus Peters. Now we have Calais Campbell, Derek Wolfe, to address some of that issues. I think the 16-0 record, I wouldn't predict that. Right? Even as every fan, you look at the schedule like, damn, my team is good. How can we lose? I think actually the 14 game is even hard. Winning 14 game in a season is extremely hard. I think this team is between 12 and 14, right? But I'm expecting more to the 12 to the 13 game, because there's always going to be a game that you just have a bad game. It just happens. It's normal. What you don't want is for that game to be in the playoffs, right? That's what you don't want. But during the season, it is a long season. So it's normal to have a letdown game. It's just right? It's the day that your quarterback didn't have it, your defense wasn't just getting burned. It could be against a bad team. How many times have you seen a really good team goes to against this team that you're like, they ain't gonna lose and boom, go? Because it happens. So I think 13 games, 12 to 13 games is more realistic. And this is not because they're gonna get a step down. It's just it's the nature of the beast.
So I guess my last quick question for you is, do you think or do you feel better about this Ravens team right now coming into the season than you did last year's Ravens team?
Oh, I do. Again, last year I predicted them to go 11-5, and I was laughed every word that I made this prediction. I will say, shout out to my boy Ing Raven. Even when I went to his channel and I predicted 11-5, people were like, "No, you crazy. We ain't gonna win at 11." This team is better constructed. Look, Marcus Peters is not 1 year in the system. Now he should feel more comfortable, right? Yes, we lost Earl Thomas, but defensive line got better. So the question, and I think we could, is provide pressure without blitzing, because what we did last year was blitz to provide pressure. If we this year provide pressure without blitzing, and we can provide sacks without blitzing, that is a scary thought. And I think the additions of that D-line will help in that matter. And on the offensive side, Lamar is another year older, meaning another year more mature as a quarterback. I think Hollywood is from a rookie that was hurt now to a guy in his second year healthy. And Mark Andrews, again, third year. The chemistry with him and Lamar is good. And on the other side, even though they're proven the rookies, the speed that we provide, I think that can help, especially if you run. And again, a guy that I know you love, Dobbins, I think he can potentially be a matchup problem. A guy that can leak out of the backfield against a linebacker. Dude, he looks amazing. I think this team is better constructed. And the receiving side, they're trying. I'm not saying they're there, but they're trying to follow the philosophy that Kansas City has. Just put a lot of speed, right? They got it with Mecole Hardman and Sammy Watkins and the Cheetah. So they're trying to do the same thing. Our guys are improving, but that's what they're trying to build for the future. And again, I think with Lamar being 1 year more mature, I think this team looks better than last year. And you will say, well, why are you not predicting a better record? Because it's a long season and things happen.
All right. Well, I think that's some great insight there by Sonny. If you want to get more from him specifically, subscribe to him at SZG Sports on YouTube. He does Ravens content there. He also talks about all of the other teams in the DC metro area. And if you want to get more content with me, Sonny, Ace, Tony, the crew, they've already all been on this channel. Subscribe to AFC North Talk on YouTube. We just hit 600. Help us get to 1,000 before the season starts. It would be greatly appreciated. Sonny, any last words before you go off?
Hey, man, it was awesome. Thank you for having me here. I can't wait for the Browns and Ravens game, man. I will see you at that moment. AFC North Talk. Guys, you have to follow the AFC North Talk. It's funny. A lot of hot takes. It's well debated, and the fans debate with themselves. So come join us. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, boy. Raven Week is coming. Make sure you're subscribed to Sonny's channel. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Make sure you're subscribed to AFC North Talk. Going to be a ton of really fun content because I think one of the AFC North's favorite rivalries this year is going to be Browns-Ravens. And boy, I cannot wait for the start of the season. And I know a lot of you can not wait as well. So again, thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.